the Venerable Bede. He lived in the 7th and 12th century, and when he was 7, he started to increase his knowledge in local monasteries in Yarrow, and there he became also a monk and a priest. Yarrow is in Northumbria, the Anglo-Saxon kingdom Northumbria, which is in northern England. He probably never left even Northumbria, but he wrote prolific and had a wide breadth of knowledge. He wrote, for example, a Martyrology about Martyr saints, and he also wrote about other subjects in Latin and in English, about science and grammar, for example, also. Another thing which he wrote, which is a very important book, is Ecclesiastical History of the English People. He was one of the most important people writing about what is happening from the 8th to the 12th century for historians to do research. And what does the title mean? The Venerable Bede. Venerable, he got the title meaning worthy of honor in the 19th century by a synod. And in 1899, more than 1,000 years after he lived, he got the Doctor of the Church by Pope Leo XIV. Maybe a bit unrelated, but Dante Alighieri lived in the 15th century in Italy, and he wrote a big book, Paradiso, and the Bede is the only person named who is English in Dante Alighieri's work. And he also, in his works, which is important for historians, differentiated between fact and fiction. He felt also gratitude for people like Columba and Aidan, Saint Columba and Saint Aidan, who came from Ireland to England to spread Christianity. And he praised the holiness of them and criticized the slothfulness of his compatriots. And that is according to Malcolm Bay's A Treasury of Saints book on the page 52 and 53. The positions and views expressed are the ones of the source and don't necessarily align with my own or with the ones of the entity spoken. Hi and welcome. I am trying to learn Biographyology today, the Venerable Bede, and after we've done it, we're going to do tiptoe yoga. And if you participate in the tiptoe yoga, then it's what you ask. The Venerable Bede, he lived in the 7th and 8th century. Feast day is the 20th of May. And he's the patronage of, Prophet, a monk, a biblical scholar, first English historian, and doctor of the church. The homely monk from Yarrow, a small town in the Anglo-Saxon kingdom of Northumbria, is considered to have been the best known and perhaps most influential writer in Western Europe from the 8th to the 12th century. Okay, he was from Northumbria, but it was one of the 7 kingdoms of the Heptarchy of the Anglo-Saxon, of Saxon time in England in the 6th to the 8th, 9th century. In the northern part of England is it. And at the town Yarrow was he, and is considered to be the most influential writer in Western Europe from the 8th to the 12th century. So for 500 years, the most influential writer of or in Western Europe. His prolific writing and breadth of knowledge provided a long beacon for future historians of the Dark Ages. Okay, that he was writing so much about, so prolific, I don't know really what it means, so prolific and about such a wide area of things made him, for historians, good with, so a good source for historians, provided a good source for historians to find things out during the 6th, 7th, 8th century. His most valuable work, Ecclesiastical History of the English People, is one of the world's great historical works, a rich tapestry of information woven together from a myriad sources. Is Ecclesiastical History of the English People a tapestry? If I'm correct, that is when with a needle and yarn made. I think it was a book. Okay. He wrote Ecclesiastical History of the English People. That is very important in history to know, because that is one of a few, or one of very big sources about how the people lived. Whether it's not written or embroidered. I say tapestry. What's the difference? He Also took the trouble unusually for his day of differentiating between fact and hearsay. Okay, so that means if there was something written in a book, or if he heard a story, he wrote into it that he just heard it or that he knew it. He also took the trouble, unusually took the time. He compiled the first Biographyology of saints' lives and expounded on other unrelated subjects, such as science and grammar. So the wide breadth of knowledge that he wrote about. He made a Biographyology, so he wrote about many people who became martyrs for the, I think, Christian faith, and also lives of saints, and also completely unrelated subjects to Christianity, like science and grammar. Although most of his works were penned in Latin, he was the first known writer of English prose. I don't really know what prose is, but he was not just writing in Latin, but also in English. Wide though his compass of scholarship was in his lifetime, Bede probably never ventured beyond Northumbria. Okay, he was writing about so many things, but he probably never traveled further than Northumbria, in North England. In the monk's own words, he said, "I have devoted my energies to the study of the scriptures, observing monastic discipline and singing the daily services in church. Study, teaching, and writing have always been my delight." Penguin Dictionary of Saints. Okay. Now he said that he takes his energy, what he has, to study the scriptures, so I guess the Bible, and to have a monastic discipline, to live disciplined roots of a monk life, also to be part in singing in the daily services in the church, and that he likes to study, teach, and write. From the early age of 7, he was educated at local monasteries. At Yarrow, he became a monk and priest before spending the rest of his life there. So at 7, he started to learn in monasteries, and at Yarrow, where he was born and lived, or from Yarrow, in Northumbria, he started to be a monk and then a priest. And he stayed the rest of his life there. Bede wrote ecclesiastical history at a time when Christianity was still a relatively new faith in the mixed Anglo-Saxons of Britain, and he portrays it as a unifying force. Okay, in the 6th, 7th, 8th century, Christianity was quite new. We did it in medieval studies, I think, or history. The beginning of Christianity in Britain. It came something from Rome with St. Augustine, from Canterbury, but also from Ireland. We had here previously in the book St. Bridget and St. Patrick, and also another person that came into other areas. So it was at the time not completely Christianity, and also when the following Viking invasions, when it was also not Christianity for some time. So he wrote about it, and he portrayed Christianity, that more and more people became Christians in England in the 7th, 8th century as a unifying force. He is conscious of the debt owed to Irish monks, such as Columba. Columba was the other person. Columba and Aidan. He did it, Columba also. So he says that he's conscious of a debt owed. I don't really know what that means. Either it means that he means that he is in favor that he's gotten from them the religion of Christianity. I don't know exactly what it was. I mean, conscious of the debt owed to Irish monks who imported their Celtic brands of a faith, and he fondly contrasts their holiness with the slothfulness of his compatriots. Yes, I have to read the sentence to the end. What I just said. He liked the new brought in faith of Christianity through Columba and Aidan from Irish monks to England, who he contrasted with from his perspective, seen as slothfulness of the other people living around him, and he was thankful for them, and he was conscious of that he is in debt and owed them for having brought over Christianity from his viewpoint. Bede's personal qualities of humility and precision are apparent in the work, so too are his prejudices. Okay, humility but prejudices. Okay, so it was humility, of humility, so he wasn't overdoing it with self-praise, or is it humility? What is the difference between humbleness and humility? Whatever we often work now from this. Okay, but he had also prejudices, but he was precise, but he had prejudice. He clearly preferred Orthodox Roman liturgy to any traditions of the Celtic Church. Okay, he liked Christianity. And he has Protestant influence in his works. His histories were the first known to use Anno Domini, so AD, and he wrote when Anno Domini written that year, so Anno Domini 673. For example, Anno Domini, I did also once a video about it, I think. Yes, I did one, but not so big. That means in the year of the Lord, and it is the genitive. So it was about why is it Anno Domini, and so why the genitive form in Latin in the declinations? It's because it is the year of the Lord, and therefore it has to be not. I don't know all the words of these declinations in English. It has to be the genitive. So it was about the grammar of Anno Domini. In dating, the title of Venerable, meaning worthy of honor. Okay, Venerable means here worthy of honor. It was previously used here by Saint Helen, that she pilgrimaged to the Holy Land in order to venerate the sacred places of Jesus' life. And I think I looked it actually up, and that means to go there to, yes, to venerate is the most perfect word, to, in a way, celebrate it. So, and here is now said that it means the title of Venerable, meaning worthy of honor, was given to Bede by the 9th century synod. It was not until by a 9th century synod. They talked it previously that there was in the year 664 the synod of Whitby, which could have been still part of Northumbria. It is in north-east England. And that there at Whitby there was also a synod in the 7th century. So by another one, so I think that, so there was said about, that I forgot what it was. There was said that, there during the synod there was said that it was the Celtic Irish liturgy was brought together with the constants of the Roman liturgy at the Synod of Whitby 664. So a synod, I don't know what it is, but this is why I'm talking about, and I think I should explain it. It kind of just say the word without assuming that everyone knows it. And I think that is a place of conglomeration, a place of the people coming together to a convention, to a synod, people, secular people, and talking about Christianity or religion. So there they talked about Bede, and they then thought that he should get the title Venerable, meaning worthy of honor, that he should get the title. It was not until 1899 that he was recognized as a doctor of the church. That means 1,200 years after he lived, he got the title of being a doctor. And he got his educational, he had some recognition or something. Okay, 1899 he became a doctor through the church by Pope Leo XIII. He is the only Englishman named by Dante in his poetic work Paradiso. So Dante, which Dante? Dante Alighieri, not Dante Gabriel Rossetti, Dante Alighieri. He was Italian, lived in the 15th century, and he wrote many works, and one of them seems to be Paradiso, and where he named persons, and only one of them was English, and he was from Italy, Dante Alighieri. Okay, now we read it. If you were here for Biographyology, you can go directly to the next part of Biographyology. There we try to make a presentation about the Venerable Bede and try to say what was said there. If you stay here and participate in the tiptoe yoga, then it's at your own risk. Feet standing together, believe the arms up, come up on tiptoe, out and down. In and up. Out and down. In and up. Out to the side. In and up. Out to the other side. In and up. Out to the side, make an inch of space between the feet. In and up. Out, go it down. In and up. Out to the other side. In and up. Out and down. In and up. Out, lean onto the knees. Breathe again in. And out, make a hell of a back. In middle. Out the belly. In middle. Out the belly. In middle. belly, middle, and come with a round back up at the top of backwards shoulder. And the arms up onto tiptoe. Out and sink down. This can go onto the knees. In and up. Out and down. In and up. Hands down, heels down. And the feet to the side. One points in front, the other one to the side. In the arms up. Out, bend the front leg. Come with the front leg onto tiptoe. In, reach in front. Out, lean back. In, straighten the front leg. Out, bend the front leg. Come into the middle. Heel down. To the other side. Breathe in. Out, bend the front leg. Tiptoe with the front leg. In, reach in front. Out, lean back. In, straighten the front leg. Out, lean again back. Heel down. Middle. The feet are pointing to the outside. In, the arms up on the tiptoe. Out, sink down. In, right hand to push something heavy up. Out and down. In and up. Out and down. And in and up. Hands down, heels down. Feet standing together. In, the arms up on the tiptoe. Out and down. Bend the right leg, stretch the left one. Change and stretch the right one. And then middle and down. Open with the feet to the side. Breathe again in. And I'll go over to one leg. Again in. Out over to the other leg. Again in. Out into the middle. And close the feet again. Breathe again in. And out. Again in. And out come slowly with the round back up at the top of backwards. Shoulder. In the arms up. And out and down. That was the tiptoe yoga. I thank you very much and until next time.